Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit, I'm sorry. I have started a new job and honestly it's taking up a lot of my time just starting the new routine, getting into the swing of everything. It's a little hard to fit everything into my schedule, but hey, we're getting the ball rolling again and hopefully we won't miss any more weeks. But no promises because life is unexpected as usual. Anyway, today's video is about how I met your mother. I talked about it in the last video about how the ending is something that is very triggering for a lot of people, but yeah, let's get into it. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for this show, even watching the cast bloopers over and over anytime that I need a giggle.
That mosquito hand! Lord, I'm coming to you! I'm coming to you, Lord, I can hear you!
Sometimes you just need a giggle. And I like to ignore the fact that season 9 is just... yeah, it's not my favorite, in my opinion. There were a few things that could be different, but I just like to ignore the fact that they totally end up imploding the entire thing at the end, in my opinion, of course. Just mine. Just my opinion. I think I've rewatched this show twice, maybe 3 times at this point, but every time I hit season 9, I just can't stop myself from hating the result of everything. And yes, I do know that this is a comedy, you're not supposed to think too much into it, but you know me. All I do is analyze things that may not necessarily need analysis, but you know what? That's just part of my charm, and you're gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, I do often wonder what a good way to end a show is, because I find that I tend to have issues with the way almost any show that I watch ends. Dexter, Supernatural, Game of Thrones, am I right? My biggest issue with the season is the mother. We spend so many damn seasons developing Ted's relationship mishaps until the end of season 8, where he mentions the woman that he spent seasons looking for. The woman he finally gets to settle down and start a family with. The audience then gets the pleasure of seeing her get along with the gang, to get excited to find out that she's perfect for Ted, and then in the same breath find out that she fucking dies. I couldn't even tell you her name right now. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not there. But they get married and they have children like he wanted. Her death happens. And then a few years later, old Ted sits his kids down on the couch and explains how he met their mom. And that's the show. Ted telling the story of how it was always Robin. This entire time, we've led up to him meeting her, and she dies very shortly after. Yeah, it was always Robin, the blue French horn, yada yada yada. He pulls up on her, and she still has mad dogs, I guess? I don't know. I'm sorry. I picture the finale in my head, and I just remember how I felt seeing it, and I'm just like,
I had a reason. What was the reason? What was the reason?
She looks out the window and she sees him standing there, and he pulls out the blue horn, and I'm just sitting there like sad bitch with egg on her face. Can you tell I'm one of those people that really enjoyed Barney and Robin? Yeah, I'm sure you can tell. In hindsight though, seeing the way that their wedding panned out with an entire season just spending 22 of the 24 episodes in that season on a freaking wedding that ends with a divorce in the very next episode, that's why I'm very salty. That's why I'm so salty, guys. To be completely fair to the writers, all of the chaos was probably the perfect foreshadowing for their divorce that was eventually going to happen anyway. Like, I get it, we're subverting expectations and all that. You couldn't possibly have thought that Robin and Barney would just work after how messy their wedding weekend had turned out to be. Yes, that 22 episodes was one weekend. It's crazy. But yeah, by the end, when the ceremony is over and you're just basking in the glow of their marriage, you assume this false sense of security, thinking it has to work out, right? because they tied the knot. But it's a good case of art imitating life, I suppose. These are just examples of how things happen in real life sometimes. You finally find the love of your life after years and years of failing, and well, sometimes they just die and you don't get to have all the time that you wanted to have with them, that you wished you could have with them. The same way that Tracy, her name's Tracy, the same way that Tracy barely gets any development with Ted before she just dies. I spent the entire first 2 times I watched the series just calling her the mother, because to me, we didn't see her enough for her to exist with her own name. The bitch just meets Ted and dies. Are we sure that he didn't kill her himself? It's just so sad because she carried the introductions with the gang so well. She was wonderfully cast and such a good match for somebody like Ted, and she just got along really well individually with everybody. I thought it was perfect, but no, it was not meant to be. I've got to say though, I don't think the ending can make this show completely unwatchable, because despite that, there's so many heart-wrenching moments and gut-busting laughs that will change the way you look at how you live your life. I may not agree that Ted and Robin should have ended up together at the end, but in life, it's very rare that you predict the road that your life is going to take. I'm sure Ted himself would have loved to live happily ever after with Tracy, but it just didn't pan out that way. Because, she died unexpectedly from an unknown illness.
What kind of place is this?
The reason a lot of us continued watching is because while they were all growing up on screen, so were we. And if you weren't, well, it was fun seeing the gang do what they do best. Wax poetic about the chaos that is growing into your own as an adult. I learned a lot about idealizing partners through the lens of Ted Mosby, the guy who was so ready for the one to walk into his life that he ignored any red flags just so he could experience love. I will leave us with a quote from Ted, one that hit many people straight in the feels and will stay with many of us. You will be shocked, kids, when you discover how easy it is in life to part ways with people forever. That's why when you find someone you want to keep around, you do something about it. It's hard to convey the feelings of growing into an adult into words, but How I Met Your Mother does it stunningly well with this show. It's why I'll always have a special place in my heart for the show, even if the end didn't quite pan out the way that a lot of us would have wanted. Just is what it is, right? Kind of like life. Thanks for watching. Until next time.